So this could be a little bit darker, right, here. So I'm going to put a little bit of red here, like this, darken up with red. And here, but I'm going to leave this a little bit light. So now I'm going to get into the intermediate values. And as I push the value down, because if not, they were coming forward too much, right? So now here, this needs to be dark, but it has a warm glow compared to that. That is a cool glow. This is a warm glow because that picks up, we've seen, picks up the warmth from the skin of this guy here, right? So this is warm, but this is not, right? This is not. So what we need to do, we need to put more red here and then more black on top because it's dark, but it's also warm. So it becomes a question of how much red and how much black I need to put in here, right? Because if it's dark, fine, it's dark, but I cannot only use the black to make it darker because in some cases it's going to be a dark value but warm. See that how it's warm now, right? See that compared to that, right? It maintains the warmth, right? So then what I do, so that needs to be cooler, right? And this needs to be warmer. So maybe I need to make it even darker, right? Even warmer and darker. So I'm going to put more red here, right? More red here. And here, see that? And then here, this is all dark, right? And then I'm gonna intervene again with the graphite to block in the core shadow. The core shadow tends to be, as you can see, kind of a violet gray. This needs to be darker, and both with the red and this part is very dark, and with the graphite. So I'm gonna mix it like this and make it darker. See that it needs to turn. That will enhance the tridimensionality. This is all darker like this, right? This is now a little bit darker here, right? So you go over that. I could also use a certain point a softer pencil to push the dark value, but I don't want to. I kind of keep it essential. I want to keep it essential. And I probably will not be able to achieve the same tonal range that he has because the dark values are very dark. In order to kind of go closer to that, I would have to use like a 2B, but I prefer not to. I want to really bring along this as much as possible without developing as many values possible throughout the artwork and not just a detail, right? I don't want to get focused on the detail. So here, this is all darker, this is darker here. But when you look at an area, right, because you have to decide what color value, for example, in terms of temperature, right, you can look at the color and don't think what color is that, think what's the temperature. And then you compare, for example, this with that and say, oh, that's warmer because that has a warm color in it. So don't think it's a reddish brown, right? Should I mix a little bit of burnt umber with a little bit of, no, think, is it cool or is it warm? Because you only have two colors, red and black, and you got to achieve the temperature, not the color. Once you start reasoning this way, when you go painting, right, and you have a little bit more color to your available, right, then you can just think the same thing, except when you paint, you have more color to use, so you could go close or try to replicate the color that you see, but your priorities will be of the first approach is going to be what's the temperature there? Is it cool or is it warm? And then you can that will help you to decide what color to use to mix the color that you see, right? And the hue, of course, you're going to look at the color. You say, okay, it's skin tone, right? How could I do that skin tone? Well, I wouldn't use cadmium, right? I wouldn't use alizarin crimson. They're too strong. I would use a low chroma red. So that could be a cool red or a warm red, right? Skin tone, right? So if it's a cool red, I could use Venetian red. Sorry, India red, which is a cool red, right? I could also use a very nice color that Old Holland makes. It's flesh ochre, which is a light. It's really nice, really nice. It's a light red earth, but it has a pinkish glow, right? It leans toward the cool, but it's not super cool. But if it's a warm skin tone, then you could use, for example, Venetian red, but also Venetian red. I like it because it's a warm, light, warm, natural earth red, right? It's iron oxide. But you can also use transparent red oxide. Transparent oxide is way warmer than Venetian red, and it's transparent. So Venetian red is more opaque. So they're going to be different results, right? They're going to be different results, depending how warm or cool the skin tone is, right? Warm or more or less warm, right? So blocking this, this is the mixture. I'm trying to mix the quantity, right? Vary the quantity of red and black, right? That's clearly I would need a much darker black. I mean, I need to use a 2B, but again, I'm not gonna do that now, right? When I do this, but we're getting closer, right? Closer to the value, right? So here now with the red, see that I find this intermediate value, right? See all this turning here, but very delicately, right? Very delicately. You don't want to push them too hard. Mostly, you don't want to focus on little detail finish it. You need to see how all these colors relate to each other as you put them down. All these values and color, temperature and whatnot, how they relate to each other, right? So this is probably too white, so I'm going to make it darker like this. And then you start seeing how now you squint, you say, all right, so yeah, it could be that I need to interrupt this here, right? Because it's sticking out too much. This maybe I could push it down a little bit, right? Then you basically, by squinting, you really start seeing the patterns as abstract entities. You see that this is a little bit too dark, right? This could be a little bit too dark. I mean, fine, right? Fine, I can leave it like that. This part in here is a little bit too visible, right? See how, if you squint, how soft this passage here? So what I could do, I could soften it up by doing this with a eraser. I could go over it like this, right? And then in between the light and the dark, create an intermediate value to soften up that passage, right? Same thing here. I could kind of lighten up this part here. But, I mean, you want to go close enough. You don't want to be super, precise in imitating that. It's more understanding, the exercise is more understanding how this works, right? And again, this is the track crayon technique is fantastic technique. You really want to practice this. So first you practice it like drawing like this, right? Then what you can do, you can paint, but it helps a lot to practice it with the dry media. It could be pastel, it could be color pencil, and then do it with oil. But when you do it with oil, you do mix the red, the white with the other colors. You do mix, and you also have yellow ochre to your availability, right? So you can use also yellow ochre to mix the colors, right? So this is darker here. all of this now, right? See how dark it is, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over it with this flat. Actually, let me sharpen the point here. So this is dark right here, right here. So I want to leave this like this, not finished, right, in progression, so we can see the progression, right?